Kindex's amazing archives demonstration. I'm going to try to crunch through this in 10 minutes. And for the sake of reality, I don't want to sever anything or cut apart anything. I want you to see what's really happening. So bear with me as we jump right in through this. I'm going to demonstrate why we're so amazing. Here's the answer: because scanning and recording just isn't enough. It's great to scan, it's great to record, and if you've already done that methodical work, congratulations. Let's get you to the next logical step, which is actually Kindex. Kindex is not Google Drive, it's not Dropbox, it's not iCloud. It is a unique file storage solution with a very powerful means of backup, potentially even in a granite mountain with an air gap solution, which is great for those of you who are concerned about file loss, even from the big boys such as Azure and AWS. It is also a transcription and enrichment tool beside every file. That's what actually makes the documents searchable. And it's a crowdsourced transcription tool. It allows you to bring in your family, bring in your friends, bring in your organization, and transcribe together. And it's also an opt-in data broadcasting service. So this is not going to be thrust upon you, but you can opt in if you'd like. Here's an archive that has opted in to do that. And this archive this is the homepage of the archive. This is a man who's lived for 50 plus years. He's done research with regards to the history of the Latter-day Saint pioneers at Missouri and all the way west. It's a rather fascinating archive because of its sheer volume. It's got 36,000 records within it. Only 198 have been human transcribed, but every other one of these pages, I believe, has all been auto-indexed, which is what I'm going to demonstrate to you today. So we've literally ran through 36,000 records, which comprise, I think, around 60,000 plus records to run through the system. And there's the breakdown, there's how many collaborators they have helping, there's the top transcribers, a little blog post, and you get this with the Kindex archive. Now, when I say an opt-in data broadcasting service, if I click on the persons list here, it's going to reveal to me every person that Gail Holmes mentioned throughout his work, A through Z. And this is not a search system. This is literally just an index of names. The same would go for places, events, and subjects. So that's how it basically broadcasts. Because this is a public-facing page, it is broadcasting the data. Now, if the people behind the Gail Holmes work wanted to make this archive private, they could certainly do that and disable Google from perusing the archive, but in this case it's a public archive. But if it was a private archive, Google can still find this information inherent in these persons, places, and events, thus pointing you or the researcher to the data in this archive. So it's a clever way to publicize or broadcast even private material. Even if you have a private journal, you can actually have it extract persons, places, and events and not put them in context of what you said about the person, about the place, or about the event. So it's a very powerful way to broadcast your data. So we're going to talk a little bit more about how. Kindex is basically built in 3 screens. You have the gather screen, the index screen, and the share screens. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what those are. This is the gather screen. This is where all the records live. The records must have a place to be organized according to their collections or their sub-collections. So think of this as a kind of a desktop where you'd have this scattered bit of data, and it's just within collections. It's really, maybe you could probably think of it more of a filing cabinet, if you will. And these are the drawers or the file folders. So we have a collection here of Phyllis Mozella Shaw and her sub-collections. She's broken down her records into a document sub-collection here, and a stories subcollection, and I'm actually seeing both of those at once when I click on them. If I want to turn one off, I can. And if I want to additionally reveal another, maybe another collection, I can do that, and then it reveals both of those collections and this single subcollection. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and turn that off. And note that because this is the gather screen or the organization screen where everything comes together, this is where we also add the records. We can add records from our computer. We can also add them from Family Search. We can also add them as a batch or in folders. And that's really cool, because if you have a whole myriad of files within a folder, and then that folder has a series of subfolders, you can literally upload gigabytes of information pretty quickly. We've uploaded, 4, 5, 6, 7 gigabytes all at once. You can even do more than that. This is the limitation of what we have right now. We will likely eliminate the 100 megabyte limitation at some point, either increase it or eliminate it altogether, so long as it's not too big of a file. The speed of your internet matters. Also, let's talk a little bit about this collections list. If you want to add collections, you just simply hit the Add Collection button. You put in the name that you want, and you structure it accordingly. Here we have an example of a media-based collection. Here we have an example of a chronological-based collection, or a structure that's chronological. And here we even have a family-coded structure, meaning Jenny was the first child of Jane, and Mike was the second child of Jane, thus the 202, and Jenny the 201. So you can structure these really however you want. You can even mix and match what you want. It's up to you. We don't require any kind of structure, but we just like to give you pointers as to how you want to structure your collections and subcollections. The navigation is built so that you can rush through the transcription process with every bit of record that you have. So for example, if I want to look at all the records that need to be transcribed that are incomplete, I can click on the incomplete button. And all of these, none of these have a badge atop them, like a purple check mark or one of these little icons, meaning they haven't been touched yet. They haven't been transcribed by a human yet, or even a computer. If I want to look at those that have been transcribed by the machine, then I can click that and see just those that have been transcribed by the machine thus far, or those that are in progress, meaning a human actually touched them, whether it was done by a computer and then a human touched it, or a human just touched it naturally, is entirely possible, and that badge will show up according to the state. So this is an in-progress record. Okay. Let's jump now to the index screen. So if I go back to something that's incomplete, and I click on any one of these thumbnails, it's going to give me the option to transcribe that record. Okay, so this is where I would index, and this particular component is where I would create intrinsic data. So I would basically take this text, type it over here manually. It would take me a certain amount of time. The auto index does it automatically, which I'll demonstrate here shortly. The extraneous data, however, is data about the data, and that's what record info. And so that's when you can put in the description, the creator who drew this up, how you obtained this record, or maybe where it is today, the date of its creation, the place where it was created. So this is extraneous data. But Kindex relies heavily to search all of this information. So the more you put in, whether it's extraneous or intrinsic, the more you can search and find. But I believe that the intrinsic data is the most important, because that's what I would want to take with me if this document was on fire. I would probably care less about the extraneous data, and I want more the intrinsic data. Now let's talk about the fact that you can actually pull intrinsic data from speech, meaning we can do speech to text, okay? We can upload an audio file and manually transcribe it, or you can just use our auto index service to do it by machine. I'm going to go ahead and jump into this example now. We're going to add some records. We're going to do this little bunch of records, and we're going to put them in the sample uploads collection. And we'll not add record properties just now. And this is going to go through and verify that these records are not too large, that they're not faulty, that they're the appropriate format, etc. And now they're in our system. And as you can see, it's organizing these. Note that it does organize them what's called a natural organization, which does mirror how your files are already organized on your hard drives. There's nothing weird about how it organizes these. So just kind of alphabetically, ones at the top, A's second, and of course Z's last. So that's, I shouldn't say one at the top, I should probably say 0 at the top. So this is what it's doing right now. It's just ordering them so that they're in a natural order. So I'm going to jump into these sample uploads. Now they're in the system, and I'm going to auto-index these rapidly. So I'm going to hit this auto-index button, and this gives me a quote, literally, of how much this will cost to transcribe 6 pages and 14 minutes of audio. That's $5. Not a bad deal. It also explains a little bit about what's going on here. We do OCR, we do handwriting recognition, we do speech to text, and we do image captioning. So those of you who have a myriad of photos on your phones, whether they're Apple or Android, go ahead and put them into Kindex and let it do the image captioning, and you can pull up, you know, that picture where you were fishing, or you know, the band that you watched with your kid playing the trombone or whatever, and you can search trombone and it'll show up. It'll show the picture of the trombone. So it's very, very powerful. So we're going to go ahead and just queue these up very quickly. And I get the super admin powers. You don't, unfortunately. So we can have this demonstration real quick. This is just going to let you know that this icon is going to be applied to the records to signify that the machine has read them, but you need to finesse them and add to them. Now this is going to spin for a little bit. You'll find that the audio and the video files will likely take just slightly longer than the handwriting because of the nature of what's going on in the back end. Now, if you're wondering what is this black magic where we can actually do handwriting recognition and, you know, speech to text, it's not black magic. It's actually machine learning, and we've built a very extensive pipeline to be able to provide this service to our customers. And it comprises about 15 different services to get what we want. And let's see where we're at now. Voila, most of it's already done. Pretty incredible. Let's jump into this one first. This looks like handwriting, cursive script. The last few days I have felt so sleepy I couldn't concentrate in class. My eyes would close without me even knowing. Very good. So far we're 100%. Let's go to the next one. This looks like a Spanish typewritten text. Even foreign languages will transcribe well, whether handwritten or typewritten. Next, we've got some kids script. Let's take a look at where we're at. We've got an image here that I think is important to look at. So this is a 2-page PDF. We have the front side of a photo and the back side with handwriting. This is the image captioning, and this is the handwritten text. Very impressive. If I search for Jason, because that was mentioned, then all auto-index text reveals a search result. So you see the power, what we just barely did here. We added these records, searched whatever we wanted, and it came up immediately because we auto-indexed them through our service. Let me jump back to that sample uploads, and let's look at this Reagan and Nixon audio file. I'm going to hit play and let you listen to it.
Hello?
Governor Reagan, Mr. President.
Hello?
You are?
Hello? Mr. President? Hope I didn't get you out of bed. No, I'm late up, although I'm still trying to sleep on Oriental time, and it's not working very well. 8:15, you know you...
Okay, so there you hear Reagan's humor and how well that is, despite a little bit of the static and the talking over each other a little bit. Very, very wonderful to see that our speech-to-text do so well. In fact, I would argue that our speech-to-text service is probably the best. Now let's jump away from this auto-index service and talk a little bit about the sharing. We've got the word Oriental. So if I search the word Oriental, what I'm doing right now is I'm essentially sharing the data by virtue of searching it. Okay? So we already searched the name Jason, and we searched the word Oriental. I'm going to go ahead and search, let's see, fence. Okay. So the most obscure words you can search and they'll pop up data. Okay. So that's what we're doing when we are searching. We're essentially sharing the data with the world. Or internally if you have a private archive. So you get to choose if you want a public or a private archive. Let's jump into the read screen. So the read screen is what activates once a record is completely transcribed. It basically has this nice text that's not cursive, that's not audio, that's not video. You can just sit back and read it. And that's really important to understand. The power of having text pegged to every kind of record is powerful because you can do all kinds of things with the text once it's extracted from the record. Okay? So here we have, looks like in this case, this is actually a story from Family Search. Let's see if we can find another example of something that might be complete. We'll say complete, and let's look at this one, a newspaper obituary. Looks like someone might have said complete on that a little too early. Let's find another one, maybe this one. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about some of these options here. We can generate a Kindex text as PDF. This will create a QR-coded printable derivative transcription file. You can either save this on your computer or you can print it out. You can also copy the link directly to this screen and you can share it on Facebook or any other email or text if you'd like. Even if it's a private archive, it will share strictly this page, no other pages. It also reveals who contributed the file and who indexed it. And the last thing I want to talk about is the fact that you are creating now crawlable content. You are extracting text from your records that were once collecting dust, and now you have crawlable content, meaning Google can find it, Yahoo can find it, the search engines can actually discover your data that was once in a box, under your bed, in a closet. So it's a very powerful data miner, if you will. And the last thing I'd like to remind you of is the ability to back up your archive if you no longer want to pay, or if you just want to have a backup because you may not trust the web services like AWS or Microsoft. You can hit this button and you can go to your tools and you can download the entire archive as a zip or a database file, a spreadsheet, and have whatever you want. So you can collaborate with your family, send them a quick invitation to help, to augment records to it, to help you transcribe. And that is Kindex in a nutshell. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you in some future day, whether it be in person or online by signing up at kindex.org. Thank you for your time.